In the past several days, we've been shining the spotlight on modern-day slave labor in the agricultural industry right here in the U.S.
Well, today we're talking to Justin Dillon, who's joining us live from San Francisco, an activist who educates consumers to buy products that are made free of forced labor. He's also the author of a book, A Selfish Plan to Change the World. Great to have you with us, Justin. First of all, I'm just curious about how you came to learn about this issue and then became a passion for you.
You know, thanks for having me on. I learned about this issue like a lot of people do, through media. I was reading a New York Times article about 12 years ago while I was just going about my life and learned about this issue. And as I started to push further and further in, I realized one of the greatest levers we can use to address slavery is the marketplace, and that's where I landed.
Yeah, and I was surprised to learn, there are between 20 to 45 million slaves in the world today, and that's according to various estimates. A lot of attention, though, is on the issue of sex trafficking, but labor trafficking actually makes up a larger percentage of the problem. Why doesn't it get as much attention, especially since it's something that impacts almost all of our lives in some way?
Well, it's true, and both are very important. But labor trafficking does find its way into our lives. In fact, it's most proximate to our lives because it finds its way into our lives through the products that we use. I'm not quite sure why that there hasn't been more attention. Certainly, CNN Freedom Project's done an amazing job getting the word out. But people are starting to understand this more and more. And I just know, just from the businesses and the consumers we work with, this is a top priority for a lot of folks. And even over the last 5 years, it's become a bigger and bigger issue for people, and people want to understand where is the slavery and the stuff that we use. A
lot of people just don't know, so it's a matter of just informing them and educating them that it even exists, and then they'll get angry about it. What can that average consumer do to stand up against slavery? I know you've got an app. Tell us about that.
Well, I had the privilege of working with the U.S. State Department to build a website called slaveryfootprint.org. And when we worked together, the idea there was to not only educate consumers, but help them understand what their footprint looks like. And the website asks a very provocative question: do you want to know how many slaves work for you? And we started asking that question in 2011, and to date, over 30 million people want to know the answer to that question and have learned the answer to that question. And now those consumers are starting to walk into the marketplace going, great, well, who do we buy from and how do we be a part of the solution and not just being aware of the problem?
Yeah.
And also tell us more about your book, A Selfish Plan to Save the World. Those two things don't exactly go together, especially when you're having a selfish plan, right? But you also write in your book about your time fighting human trafficking, and you travel to Haiti. You talk about that in your book to educate singer and actor Common about modern-day slavery. Tell me about that trip.
That trip was amazing, and I got to do that with CNN. And slavery is one of those words and concepts, realities that's just so scary, and it feels like it's in the past. And quite frankly, it's not something that we feel like addresses or interacts with our everyday lives. And the opportunity to take just this amazing human being, Common, down to Haiti to meet kids that are trapped in slavery as indentured servants, it's reframed the reality that we all have dreams. The documentary we made together is called Common Dreams. We all have dreams for our lives. We all want better things for our families. And this is true universally. So what the Selfish Plan to Change the World is all about is that everyone I meet, all of my friends, all my family, we want to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. And being a part of creating freedom for others is one of the greatest opportunities that we have that's been given to all of us and all the viewers that are watching. And so I just believe that by getting involved in the problems of others, it actually gives back to us. That's the selfish part.